They won't tell you this during your routine checkups, but I'm going to be blunt. If you've stopped touching your own body as you've gotten older, your body may be quietly weakening. And what's even more worrying, you might not even realize it. I know, many people find this topic sensitive, but this isn't a joke or some throwaway piece of advice. It's a clinical reality I've seen again and again over more than 30 years of caring for men your age. I'm Dr. Benjamin Hartwell, a urologist and men's health specialist, and I want to tell you the story of a patient so you'll understand why I consider sexual health, even when you're alone, to be as critical as blood pressure or memory. One winter afternoon, Patrick, age 74, came to see me. He didn't hand me a prescription list or lab results. He just sat down and said, "Lately, Doc, I just don't feel like myself. Everything's fine, but there's this emptiness I can't explain." When I pressed further, he admitted he hadn't taken much interest in his own body for years. He thought that chapter of his life was over. I told him, "Patrick, this isn't just about desire. When you ignore this part of yourself, you're taking away one of your most powerful tools for keeping your hormones, brain, sleep, immune system, and even your confidence functioning well." He sat in silence for a long moment. You see, this isn't just Patrick's story. Far too many older men treat this as something past its expiration date. But in reality, it's still a vital key to overall health. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you step by step what's happening inside your body when you skip it, and how you can bring it back. If you truly care about staying healthy, sharp, and independent for as long as possible, subscribe to Doctor's Note and turn on the bell icon, so every week I can send you reliable, science-backed advice designed specifically for men your age. And if what I'm saying resonates, drop a number 1 in the comments so I know you're still with me. Now, let's start with something small, but far more powerful than you might think. Your prostate and your ability to urinate. Foundations for daily comfort and confidence. The prostate might sound like just a tiny organ buried deep in your body, but for me, and for hundreds of patients I've seen, it's like a valve that regulates daily comfort. When I first started in urology over 30 years ago, I never expected so many men to talk about the silent disappearance of sexual habits in their later years. I remember one morning, James, 72 years old, still spry and walking every day, came in with dark circles under his eyes. He told me, "I don't know why, but lately I've been getting up 4 to 5 times a night to pee. I'm exhausted, and the whole next day I just want to lie down." When I asked more, he hesitated and then admitted, "I stopped doing that a long time ago. I figured I didn't need it anymore." What he didn't know, and what most men don't realize, is that regular ejaculation, even through masturbation, plays a major role in keeping the prostate healthy. The prostate isn't a passive lump of tissue. It's constantly producing fluid, expanding and contracting. Like any system, if you neglect it, problems follow. Without regular stimulation and release, prostate fluid builds up. That buildup creates an ideal environment for inflammation, swelling, and pressure on the urinary tract, leading to bladder heaviness, weak stream, or pelvic discomfort. Worse, chronic blockage can lead to benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, which affects nearly 50% of men over 60 and increases the risk of infection, urinary retention, even the need for a catheter. That man I mentioned earlier, he eventually needed surgery to relieve the pressure, something that could have been avoided entirely with a simple, natural habit. In fact, studies show men who ejaculate 21 times or more a month have a significantly lower risk of prostate cancer compared to those who do it less. This isn't about acting like you're 20 again or some compulsive behavior. It's maintenance for your biological plumbing, like flushing a pipe to prevent buildup. When you stop masturbating in older age, you're not just skipping pleasure, you're risking pain, inflammation, and loss of control over one of the most basic bodily functions, urination. I've seen strong men brought low by sleepless nights and long trips ruined because they couldn't trust their bladder. Losing control like this slowly erodes your sense of independence, the very thing most of us want to protect to the end. If you've experienced symptoms like frequent nighttime urination, weak flow, or pelvic heaviness, drop a number 1 in the comments. I want to know you're still here, still paying attention to what your body's telling you. And this is only the beginning, because when the changes reach your brain, it's not just your memory that suffers. Your thinking, your emotions, Even the way you recall life's moments can shift, sometimes in ways that are hard to reverse. 2. Brain fog and mental sharpness decline. Our brain is like a garden. Without regular watering, tending, and stimulation, it slowly withers. Over the years, I've met countless men over 60 who tell me they're just not as sharp as they used to be. What they never expected is that sometimes the cause is linked to a habit so small they thought it didn't matter: self-stimulation. Not long ago, during an appointment, Richard, 68 years old, a retired teacher, sat across from me and sighed. "Doc, I walk into a room and forget why I came in. I'll be talking, and the thought I meant to say just disappears. I'm scared I'm aging too fast." When I explained that sexual activity, even solo, can help protect the brain, he was genuinely surprised. During orgasm, the brain releases a cocktail of happy chemicals: dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, all of which support memory, focus, and emotional balance. These chemicals don't just make you feel good in the moment. They also boost blood flow to the brain and lower cortisol, the stress hormone that, if kept high for too long, can damage nerve cells. When you completely stop this activity, especially for extended periods, those protective waves for the brain appear less often. At first, you might just forget someone's name or miss an appointment. But over time, focus declines, motivation drops, and, worse, you start doubting yourself. Am I losing my memory? That doubt easily spirals into anxiety and depression, which only make memory worse. In men, reduced sexual activity is also tied to a faster drop in testosterone. This isn't just the sex drive hormone. It's closely linked to memory, decision-making, and confidence. Some studies have shown a correlation between low sexual activity and an earlier onset of cognitive decline, even dementia. I'm not saying quitting masturbation will cause Alzheimer's, but clearly, when the brain misses out on stimulation, release, and hormonal support, it becomes far more vulnerable. I once worked with Howard, a veteran member of a chess club, who had quit playing because he could no longer concentrate on a match. When we rebuilt his routine, including reconnecting with his own body, he returned to the chessboard after 3 months and said, "Doc, I'm not just remembering the moves. I'm remembering what it feels like to be me again." If you've ever felt your mind slowing down, growing forgetful, or losing motivation, take this as your body's reminder. Because when the brain is woken up, every part of life becomes sharper and more vivid. And now we reach a more sensitive territory, where disconnecting from your body doesn't just blur your memory, but can quietly pull you into an emotional shadowland where everything feels dull and lifeless. This is why I call it the most silent trap of aging. 3. Depression and emotional numbness. I still remember vividly one autumn morning when Patrick, 70, came to see me. He had once been lively, the soul of every gathering. But that morning, he sat down with slumped shoulders, a dull gaze, and said something I'll never forget. "Doc, I don't feel anything anymore. Not sad, not happy, just empty." Patrick didn't have heart disease, diabetes, or any recent major life event. But when I asked about his sex life, including moments alone, he shook his head slightly. "I gave it up long ago. At my age, I figured it wasn't necessary." The truth is, our emotions need regular release, and the body has a built-in mechanism for it: orgasm. In that moment, the brain releases oxytocin and endorphins, natural chemicals that ease pain, fight anxiety, and lift your mood. They're like waves that wash away stress, soothe the nervous system, and restore emotional balance. When that habit disappears, especially during times when you're already facing loneliness, loss, or pressure, the body slowly adapts to a frozen emotional state. At first, you just lose interest in activities you once enjoyed. Then, the indifference seeps into relationships, daily routines, and eventually into your sense of self. I've seen many patients slip into a quiet depression without realizing the cause. They assume it's just the natural course of aging. But in reality, they're missing a natural, safe outlet their body was designed to use for a lifetime. Another patient, David, had spent nearly a decade in silence and fatigue. After a few months of restoring this habit, he told me, "Doc, I feel alive again. It's not just that my smile came back. It's the feeling that I matter, that I'm worth waking up for." Revived emotions don't just give you more energy for life. They open the door to another essential factor: deep, restorative sleep. And in the next section, I'll show you why those nights of good rest depend on it more than you might think. 4. Loss of deep sleep. Sleep isn't just about closing your eyes and lying still. It's the time your body repairs, restores, and recharges for the next day. But in older age, many men I see describe the same pattern. They fall asleep easily enough, but then wake up in the middle of the night and can't get back to sleep. Robert, 69, is a prime example. He told me, "I often wake up at 2 or 3 a.m., like something shook me awake. Then I just toss and turn until morning, completely drained." We ran every test, heart, blood pressure, thyroid, labs, everything came back fine. But when I gently asked about his sex life or solo moments, he gave an embarrassed smile. "I quit a long time ago, Doc. Figured it didn't do much good anymore." What he didn't know, and many others don't either, is that orgasm acts like a switch that shifts the body from tension into deep relaxation. During orgasm, your body releases oxytocin, prolactin, and endorphins, a natural blend that lowers blood pressure, slows heart rate, relaxes muscles, and signals the nervous system to enter rest mode. At the same time, cortisol, the stress hormone that keeps you alert, drops sharply, making it easier to drift into deep, uninterrupted sleep. When you completely remove this mechanism from your life, especially for months or years, your body loses one of its built-in shortcuts to deep sleep. The result? You're more likely to have restless nights, wake up multiple times, and start each morning feeling groggy and worn out. And the consequences don't stop at feeling tired. Poor sleep over time weakens the immune system, increases the risk of heart disease, impairs memory, and in older men can cause testosterone levels to drop more quickly. Some studies even show that insufficient deep sleep can slow reflexes and impair balance, raising the risk of falls. A serious danger in advanced age. Robert came back to see me 2 months after he began reconnecting with his body. He smiled and said, "Doc, now I sleep a solid 6 to 7 hours straight and wake up feeling so much lighter. I always thought insomnia was just part of getting older. Turns out, not necessarily." When sleep is restored, you don't just have more energy to fully live your day, you also protect the health of many other systems in your body. And one of the most important systems directly affected is the pelvic floor and blood circulation, the quiet foundation that supports all your daily activities. 5th, pelvic floor, weakness and blood circulation. The pelvic floor is a group of muscles at the base of the pelvis that acts as the foundation for the entire lower abdomen. It supports the bladder, rectum, and reproductive organs, and plays a role in urinary control and maintaining sexual function. But for many older men, this muscle group weakens silently, and one overlooked cause is completely stopping sexual activity, including solo activity. I remember Thomas, 73, a retired firefighter who still kept up with light morning workouts. He came to see me with 2 new complaints: occasional urinary leakage and a dull ache in his lower back when standing for long periods. His MRI and lab tests came back normal, but when I asked about the frequency of sex or masturbation, he admitted, "I gave it up years ago, figured my body didn't need it anymore." What he didn't realize is that every orgasm triggers rhythmic contractions of the pelvic floor, like a natural workout for those muscles. This action helps maintain tissue elasticity, improves blood flow to the pelvic area, and keeps the nerves there awake. When you stop entirely, these muscles no longer get trained. Blood flow decreases, tissues lose elasticity, and nerve reflexes slow down. The result can be a cascade of uncomfortable issues: leakage when coughing or laughing, a heavy feeling in the pelvis, reduced erectile function, or even pain when moving or standing for long periods. Some men, embarrassed by these symptoms, gradually avoid going out and withdraw from social activities, unintentionally shrinking their world. I explained to Thomas that masturbation isn't just about pleasure, it's also a form of maintenance exercise for the pelvic muscles and blood vessels. He began incorporating Kegel exercises and reconnecting with his body. After 3 months, he told me, "Doc, I feel completely different. No more leakage, my back feels better, and I feel like I'm 10 years younger." But muscle strength and blood circulation are only part of the picture. If your body's internal defense system, the immune system, weakens, all other improvements can easily collapse. And that brings us to the next silent consequence I want you to clearly understand. 6. Loss of bladder control. When the pelvic floor weakens and the prostate no longer runs on rhythm, what you notice first often isn't pain, it's losing control over your bladder. At first, it's just a few drops leaking when you cough, sneeze, or lift something. Over time, the constant need to find a bathroom, especially when you're in the car, at the store, or in the middle of a conversation, can become a daily worry. Richard, 68, a former mechanical engineer, told me, "Doc, I've spent my whole life calculating things precisely, and now I'm losing to an unpredictable bladder. Our exams showed no infection, no stones. The problem came down to two factors: pelvic floor muscles weakened after years without proper training, and a mildly obstructed prostate that left urine behind in the bladder, making him need to go again shortly after." Here's where many men misunderstand. Frequent urination isn't always from drinking too much water. Sometimes it's from incomplete emptying, so you have to go again and again. Biologically, orgasm is a built-in workout that helps the pelvic floor contract rhythmically and flushes prostate fluid. When you stop entirely for a long time, pelvic muscles and nerves lose sensitivity. Blood flow decreases, and the prostate becomes more prone to fluid buildup, all of which contribute to urgency, leakage, nighttime trips to the bathroom, and a general feeling of not being in control. The consequences aren't just inconvenient, they erode confidence and independence. You start planning routes based on bathroom availability, avoiding long trips, and even turning down social invitations. Richard once thought the solution was to stop drinking water in the afternoons. But the less you drink, the more concentrated your urine becomes, which irritates the bladder, and he still ended up going often. It was only when we retrained his pelvic floor, adjusted his water timing, added the double voiding technique after finishing, sit for another 20 to 30 seconds and try again, and reconnected him with his body to reduce prostate congestion, that his urinary frequency noticeably improved within weeks. Quick self-check for men 60 plus. Do you leak when coughing, laughing, lifting? Do you often need to go again right after you just went? Do you wake up greater than or equal to 2 times at night to urinate? If you answer yes to 2 or more, take it as a sign to adjust your habits and get checked early to rule out medical conditions. Practical tips to start today. Kegels for men. Tighten your muscles as if trying to stop urination. Hold 3 to 5 seconds. Release for 5 seconds. 10 reps per set. 3 sets per day. Bladder training. When you feel the urge, delay for 5 to 10 minutes. Breathe slowly and tighten release your pelvic floor to raise your urge threshold. Water timing. Stay hydrated during the day. Reduce intake 2 to 3 hours before bed. Limit coffee, alcohol after 2 p.m. Double voiding. Each time you go, sit for an extra 20 to 30 seconds and try to urinate again to empty your bladder as much as possible. Address hidden triggers. Constipation, chronic coughing, and excess weight can all worsen leakage. Tackle these issues alongside bladder care. Tell your doctor right away if you have painful urination, fever, blood in your urine, or pelvic pain, as these could be signs of an infection or other problems that require treatment. When you regain control over your bladder, you're not just less worried about accidents. You're reclaiming your freedom to move and your dignity. And there's another silent system that determines whether you have enough fire to fight off illness: your immune system. In the next section, I'll show you why neglecting intimacy with your own body can weaken your immune defenses and how to switch that natural defense system back on. 7. Disconnection and self-worth. There's something I've seen time and again in men over 60. They don't just lose physical health, they gradually lose the thread that connects them to their true selves. When the body no longer responds like it used to, when moments of closeness, even alone, fade away, they begin to feel like strangers in their own skin. Michael, age 70, was once an energetic, witty man who lit up every gathering with friends. But after completely giving up on self-care, combined with a few health problems, he became quieter, avoided social events, and stayed home most of the time. During one checkup, he told me, "Doctor, I don't recognize myself anymore. It's like I'm alive, but I'm no longer me." The problem here isn't just physical. When you lose connection with your body, you also lose a vital source of mental energy, the very thing that makes you feel alive. capable of giving and receiving affection. This feeling quietly erodes your confidence, making you hesitant to join activities, and in some cases, leading to self-isolation. Research on older men's health shows that those who maintain sexual activity, including solo activity, tend to report higher levels of life satisfaction, confidence, and a sense of usefulness. This isn't just about desire, it's about keeping the flame of identity and purpose alive. I've seen many cases where simply reconnecting with their bodies sparked changes, calling up old friends, taking walks with grandchildren, or joining a new club. They didn't just regain health, they regained themselves. And if you're wondering whether your own body might be sending out these silent cries for help, the next section will give you a clear mirror to check. 9. Self-check. 7 warning signs. If you notice 3 or more of these signs, don't wait. The story I'm about to share will show you what can change. You can grab a piece of paper right now and check yourself against these 7 signs. Disturbed sleep, trouble sleeping deeply, often waking at 2 to 3 a.m. and tossing for hours. Mood swings, easily irritated or sad without reason, especially in the evening. Noticeable muscle weakness, tasks that used to be easy now tire you out quickly. Loss of sexual interest, no longer feel the same desire for intimacy as before. Frequent nighttime urination, 2 to 3 times or more, disrupting your sleep. Difficulty focusing, reading the news or watching TV, but struggling to remember the content. Reduced social participation, avoiding friends and family gatherings. Action checklist for today. Write down the number of signs you have. If it's 3 or more, schedule a full health and hormone checkup with your doctor. Start home-based self-care, nutrition, exercise, relaxation, and safe masturbation as part of your lifestyle. And that can start tonight, right in your own home. I clearly remember one of my patients, Richard, 68. When I first met him, his face carried an exhaustion he couldn't hide. He'd been struggling with insomnia for months, often felt depressed, and his urinary difficulties made him reluctant to go out. He told me, "Doctor, I've lost my joy in life. I'm just existing, not really living anymore." We started a simple yet comprehensive plan, adjusting his diet, doing light exercise every morning, meditating for 5 minutes before bed, and, most importantly, restoring his personal sexual health through safe, mindful masturbation as a way to relax, improve circulation, and balance hormones. 6 months later, Richard came back with brighter eyes and a wider smile. He was sleeping through the night, urinating normally, regaining muscle tone, and most importantly, he had joined the city's cycling club, something he once thought was impossible. The takeaway: small changes, done consistently, can lead to a complete transformation. And it all starts with the decision not to neglect yourself. Because aging is not the end. It's an opportunity to live deeper, fuller, and healthier every single day. Remember, masturbation in later life isn't just a private act. It's part of a holistic health strategy, improving blood flow, keeping muscles flexible, stabilizing mood, and maintaining body confidence. If you see yourself in Richard's story or recognize a few warning signs in your own life, don't stay still. Start with small steps. Spend 15 to 20 minutes each day moving your body. Eat a balanced diet focusing on heart and hormone-friendly foods. Care for your body, including your personal sexual health, with respect and safety. Share your story to inspire others in your generation. I want you to remember this. At any age, sexual health, even when you're alone, is your own independent health marker, just like blood pressure or memory. When you maintain it, you're preserving your personal freedom. Tonight, start small. Turn off your devices before bed. Track your sleep and nighttime bathroom trips. Take a 20-minute walk tomorrow morning with 3 sets of Kegels, and give yourself quiet time to reconnect with your body in a safe, respectful way. If you have 3 or more warning signs, book an appointment with a urologist and an internist to rule out underlying conditions, then stick to the 4-week plan. If these words resonate with you, drop a 1 so I know you're still with me. Subscribe to Doctor's Note for weekly guidance, short exercises, better sleep habits, prostate monitoring tips, and simple, effective recovery plans. And meet other men who are choosing to live, not just exist. Because aging is not the end. It's the chance to live deeper, fuller, and healthier every day. I'm Dr. Benjamin Hartwell, and this is Doctor's Note. If you found this video helpful, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and share it so we can build a community of strong, confident, and energetic men over 60. Final note, you are never too old to start living more fully. Starting today, choose to live, not just exist.